1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 5. And whatever mission Saul sent him on, David was so successful that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. And this pleased all the troops and Saul's officers as well. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, joyful songs, and with timbrels and lyres. And they danced and they sang, Saul has slain his thousands. David has slain his 10,000s, and Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. Saul has lost some status. Not only has Saul lost status, he's actually lost his legacy. He will be deposed as the king of Israel, and this young man, this new giant killer in town, will replace Saul as the king of Israel. If anybody's got a reason to be jealous, if anybody's got a reason to have resentment or hatred, it's going to be Saul's son, Jonathan. You see, Jonathan now goes from being the heir apparent, the prince of Israel, to being a nobody. This farm kid, this shepherd, shows up out of nowhere, goes down into the valley of Elah, and does something no one else in Israel was willing to do. But instead of Jonathan being jealous of Saul, instead of Jonathan looking at him and saying, hey, you've taken my legacy, Jonathan decides to make David his legacy. Because when Jonathan sees what this farm kid can do with shepherd's tools, with a stick and a bag of rocks, Jonathan loves him as his own spirit. They become one in spirit, and Jonathan invests in David. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1, after David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. And from that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. There's a selflessness when it comes to investing in other people. And Jonathan took off his robe he was wearing and he gave it to David along with his tunic and his sword and his bow and his belt. You see, when Jonathan saw what David's potential was, instead of Jonathan worrying about what he could not accomplish, instead of Jonathan focusing on what he was going to lose, he said, I've got somebody here that I can make successful. I can equip. I will give him my tunic, make him look like a soldier. I'll give him my sword and my bow and my belt. And you'll notice that after this point, you never read of another battle where David employs a sling as his weapon. David always uses either his sword or his spear. Jonathan empowered and equipped David, and by investing in this other man, Jonathan created a legacy. Because everything that David will ever accomplish from this point forward, you can lay partially at the feet of Jonathan, because Jonathan decided that building a legacy was not about what he could accomplish, but building a legacy was based on what he could help other people accomplish. You want to build a legacy as a man, you want to build a legacy as a mentor, you want to build a legacy as a leader or a teacher, find someone, equip them, and empower them. Give them your tunic and your sword and your bow and your belt. And what you'll find is that your legacy will far outlive your ability. Your legacy won't be, look what I did, but your legacy will be, look what I helped someone else accomplish. You love someone selflessly, and you share with them your abilities, and you share with them your resources. That is how you build a legacy. I'm Lonnie Jones, the host of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I hope you will follow the podcast and hope you will subscribe and become a regular listener. Good luck at your men's retreat this weekend. And God bless you, and thank you for letting me be a part.